agenda. Suzanne, you ready? Good. Good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the school board business meeting for Fridley District School Board. Today is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. The time is 7:30 p.m. and I invite you, if you wish, to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. This is the first official business meeting of the school board for the new year, and so the first item of business is to elect new officers for the school board. I'm sorry, it is not the first business. The first order of business, I jumped ahead, is to swear in the newly elected board members. So I invite Eric and Jake and Sarah to join me in the front, and we'll swear you in. How do we think Josh wanted us here?
Face the camera.
He wants them facing this?
No,
Or me? No, them.
you can all three maybe stand behind the podium.
Yeah, why don't you guys stand here? And I'll use this for a minute, and then you guys can all share. So, it is an honor that you were appointed to guide the education of our community students. As you recite the oath of office that you have in your hands there, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with the duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and the other members of our school board in the position of both being morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in our district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure that all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board, we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for our schools. As a board member, your leadership and contribution to Fridley Public Schools is valuable. We will support and champion the district's vision of becoming the best place to learn and the best place to work. Furthermore, as a world-class community of learners, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and strive to lead the district towards fulfilling our mission, which is to challenge and inspire our students and our community to become caring and knowledgeable lifelong learners who inquire to take action to create a better world. So with that, I invite you all at the same time to set your oath of office.
Having signed the acceptance of office and the oath of office, I hereby publicly affirm my commitment to the oath of office. I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, and I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District Number 14 to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations and welcome to the board. Now we're moving on to the next item, which is the organization of board officers. And we will do the board chair election first, and then the rest of the officers after that. So, I am now inviting nominations for the board chair position. Is there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Jake Carnop.
We have a nomination for Jake Carnop. Are there any other nominations for board chair? Are there any other nominations for board chair? Are there any other nominations for board chair? Hearing none, we have one nomination for board chair, Mr. Jake Carnop. All those, we can do a voice vote. All those in favor of Jake being the chair, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Congratulations, Mr. Carnop. You are now the new board chair. I
Thanks,
invite
sir.
you to take the seat. I forgot the gavel. We don't need it. We could have had much more fun.
We could have. Ross got us a gavel, but we're never going to need it here in Fridley, ever. Thank you, Mr. Meiser. So now we need to, actually, I think I need to recuse myself. No, I don't. I can still do the nominations for board vice chair. So I'd entertain a motion for recommendation for board vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Nikki Anna. I almost said Nikki Carnop, and that's wrong.
That is wrong.
That is wrong.
Oh, thank you.
Are there any other nominations for board vice chair? Are there any other nominations for board vice chair? Seeing none, board vice chair will go to Nikki Anna. We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor say nay. So all the votes have it for Ms. Anna as board vice chair. And then now we need to do nominations for treasurer. Do I have any nominations for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Sarah Jones.
Do I have any, Sarah Jones has been nominated for the position of treasurer. Do I have any other nominations?
Am I backwards?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Eric Keeler.
This is what happens when you leave it all to me, you guys.
Well, you were doing so well.
Would Miss Anna or Miss Stark, would you like to withdraw your nomination?
I would like to withdraw my
Okay,
nomination.
so we have one nomination for Mr. Keeler for treasurer. Do I have any other nominations for treasurer? Any other nominations for treasurer? Seeing none, we'll do another voice vote. All those in favor of Mr. Eric Keeler for the nomination position of treasurer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed? All right, congratulations, Eric. You are our new treasurer. Now we will take nominations for, for clerk position. Do I have any nominations for the position of clerk?
I nominate Ross Meisner.
Do I have any other, well, Ross Meiser's been nominated for position of clerk. Are there any other nominations for clerk? Any other nominations? Nope. Seeing none, all those in favor of having Mr. Meisner be our board clerk signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Congratulations, Ross, you are our new board clerk. Next, we have the approval of agenda with suggested motions and resolutions. Chair would entertain a motion to accept.
Move to accept the agenda.
Second.
We can do a voice vote for this. All those in favor of accepting the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item on the agenda is our superintendent update or report from Dr. Lewis.
Thank you so much, Chair. So tonight we have a lot of guests, as you can see, and we're just thrilled to have a very robust update tonight. The very first item that I have to update us on is our Employees of the Month for December. So first we are recognizing Renee Arbogast, who is our Director of Nutritional Services. Renee, congratulations to Renee, our stellar Director of Nutritional Services. Renee's exceptional dedication and support for the RLS kitchen staff have exceeded all expectations. Despite the challenges of being short-staffed, she consistently lends a helping hand with a contagious smile. brightening our days and ensuring smooth operations. Renee was nominated by the prep cook, Amy Mills, at Stevenson Elementary. Her genuine care for the entire team across all buildings is truly commendable. Renee's unwavering commitment makes her the well-deserved Employee of the Month. I also have had the opportunity, as you can see in the picture here, the last few months to directly supervise Renee. And she just has a wonderful spirit about how she really embraces the work that we have. She's student-centered. Nutritional Services continues to have staffing shortages not unlike other areas of our organization, and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it by the way she just rolls up her sleeves and is just constantly cheerleading our staff, is just that constant presence. So I've really enjoyed working directly with Renee. So congratulations to Renee. Next up, we get to recognize Kayla Bryson Rivera, and she's our Activities Department Administrative Assistant, and she is for our Employee of the Month for this month, January. And Kayla actually just joined Fridley Public Schools, and she has a very wonderful start date, which is the same date as mine, so we both started July 1st. Hats off to Kayla, our phenomenal Employee of the Month for January. Stepping into a challenging position with grace, she seamlessly transitioned after the retirement of a long-term employee. Kayla's friendly, helpful, and caring demeanor has already established her as a dedicated Fridley Tiger, managing the day-to-day operations of activities and athletics at Fridley Public Schools. She navigates responsibilities with poise and consistently introduces departmental improvements, from finance to practice calendars and even door scheduling. Kayla's commitment to supporting the activities director, coaches, advisors, athletes, and students is truly exceptional. She's a valuable addition to our Fridley Tiger family. This was written by our activities director, Justin Reese. I also have the opportunity of working pretty closely with Kayla, and she just takes a lot of pride in the work that she does with our activities. And tonight she was over at the swim meet, and if many of our staff were there, and if you notice, we have new signage as you walk into door 2 for our aquatic center, as I like to call it. And you can see it's just really professionally done, and she does that using a Cricut. And you'll see around the high school, she started to do the Fridley F and pieces like that. So she just takes a lot of pride in her work. So congratulations to Kayla. Next up, we are excited. Ross was honored last Thursday at the Minnesota School Boards Association luncheon. That was a bit of a surprise to him as he was honored there. But he successfully earned 100 points from MSBA sponsored sessions to improve individual performance. And I have this certificate for you as well. So congratulations. Thanks for your dedication.
Thank you so much. Something to aspire to.
Next up, our gala. Please get your tickets if you haven't already by January 19th. It's January 25th, 5:30 to 9 at Jack's Cafe. So I'm excited to experience my very first one. And a special thank you to all of our team that has been working really hard and tirelessly on the gala. So I'm excited to see that come to fruition. I'm also hopeful that it'll be a little bit warmer that night too. I heard one of our board members talking about spaghetti straps in January. So I think hopefully we can have a little warmer. All right, it's my absolute delight to have many of our staff members share about AVID, Advancement via Individual Determination. And as you can see, we have a full house here tonight. We have folks that have really dedicated a lot of their professional career to the work around AVID. And we're really excited. Fridley has really done an amazing job of AVID elective in our district, at both the middle school and the high school. And now we're really working to do to Avid school-wide. So you'll really hear tonight directly from our teachers and other stakeholders, just sharing about the power of Avid. We also had school board member Jones, who went to the Avid conference, and she will also share a little bit later on. So our Avid team, I'm ready to turn this over to you. I forgot to bring a clicker, so I'll click for you. Thank you
All right.
so much.
Hi, I'm Liz Jensen. I teach at Fridley High School. I'm one of our Avid elective teachers there, our Avid coordinator there, and I work as our Avid district director for Fridley High School and Fridley Middle School. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of what that looks like on a school-wide model and a little bit of where we're coming from. So one of the things we work with on our students is note-taking. So kind of the question that we're going to be kind of exploring today is, what is Avid and how are Fridley Public Schools Avid teams, both at our middle school and high school, and then looking at our 6 through 12 team working to systematically re-implement Avid school-wide. So there are two mission statements here. One of the things that I love about Avid is that it blends seamlessly with IB. And with that being said, then their mission statement from Avid really blends with ours here. So Avid's mission is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for college and career readiness and success in a global society. They really look at making sure every student is choice ready, which is really important to me when our students graduate from Fridley Public Schools. And then we look at our sort of Fridley Public Schools Avid motto or statement. Fridley Public Schools Avid elevates what we believe about teaching and learning through a structured framework that provides rigor with support. And you're gonna hear that phrase quite a bit tonight. And equity, so that all students graduate choice ready. So, where are we coming from with Avid? In 2000, actually that was not 2009, that was 2012, that's a typo on my part. I was pregnant with my daughter when we implemented it. In 2009, I was pregnant with my son, so apparently I just messed that right on up. So in 2012, we decided that we were needing to help our students. We needed to take a look at what we were doing to close that opportunity gap. And our principal at the time, Renee Van Gorp, along with our assistant principal at the time, Kelly McCombo, took a look at things and said, I think we need to explore this. So we started in 2012. I proofed this like 12 times, can't believe I missed that one. And we started that year really with grades 9 and 10, and then for the next few years we added on to 11 and 12. Our middle school implemented grade 8, and then we went to 7 the next year in 2016 and 2017. We are now at grades 6 through 12 Avid, and we have 2 sections per grade level, which is just amazing to me. At Fridley High School, all of our students take at least one HL or concurrent enrollment course, or they do the most appropriate course of rigor, depending on how that looks for each student. We never want to force kids into a box that doesn't fit them. If you would have asked me in high school to take an HL math course, it would not have fit for me. And that's really important to me, that we support our students and what they want to do. We currently have around 325 Avid elective students between both Fridley Middle School and Fridley High School. Previous to the pandemic, we still go through a whole process at the end of each year, and we really go through and rank where we are as an Avid school site. And this is from before the pandemic. They haven't done these. They will starting again this year, but we have been noted as a Avid school-wide site of distinction. Again, they've just kind of continued this on, and I don't see any reason why we can't reach that benchmark again.
Liz, our comms team is messaging me. Can you pull the mic a little closer?
Yes, I can. I'm not used to speaking with a microphone. I'm kind of loud in my classroom.
Liz, slide it a little.
Which way?
Slide the whole mic.
The whole mic?
There you go.
Okay, well, this is awkward. Hello.
This should be better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Don't ask. I can do it, but everyone's going to have to sit here. All right,
Thank you.
so Avid really has 4 components to its framework. instruction, systems, leadership, and culture. These are the 4 components we are going to be looking at as we move forward with school-wide instruction. And we're going to be taking each of these 4 components and looking at them separately as well as together. Within these 4 components, AVID really can help to transform a school and ensure that all of our students are reaching higher academic standards. And what are we doing for them to support them to reach the rigorous curriculum that we have here through our IB courses? So this college and career framework is, Keeler, you might recognize some of the kids in this picture because it's from a few years back, but it's one of my favorites. This is one of our first AVID classes. But it really looks at a college and career readiness framework. And one of the things that I really like to note in this graphic is that the outside of this graphic is all about relational capacity. Without that relational capacity, and at Fridley we do a fantastic job with that, our teachers are phenomenal, it helps to support everything that we do within all 4 of those domains. We look at what the educators do in that lower part of that triangle, but then we really look at how do we create that opportunity knowledge and push our students forward to see what our students can do to reach those choice-ready options. So, AVID as a support for rigorous coursework. We are really looking at AVID as a Tier 1 support for all of our students. AVID elective is separate. We are specifically talking about our AVID school-wide system, using the same strategies and the same things that we would offer for our AVID elective students as a Tier 2 intervention, but really expanding it school-wide so that we can really make sure every student is supported. So AVID provides scaffolded support that educators and students need to encourage college and career readiness and success. With AVID, school leaders have the flexibility to start small and can deepen AVID's impact on their campus over time. That's really important to me as someone who's been in the district for 14 years. As we go through things, we do want to start small, because when we start small, we can do it with fidelity. And if we're going to do something, Brenda's words, we're going to do it right. So as we re-implement, we are starting a little bit small, but we're going to continue doing it with fidelity and with purpose. So these are the questions that we are going to begin asking our teachers and ourselves and our leaders. What are our students writing? How often are they writing? Are they exercising curiosity and asking questions every single day in classes? How do they collaborate with other students? One of the biggest things I hear from educators and from myself is that after the pandemic, students are really hesitant to collaborate. They do not want to work with other people. We need to begin focusing on that and structuring that again for our students. What activities help them organize their thinking and evidence of learning? And how do we teach students to budget time for academics and personal lives? And then my favorite, when do they read? And how often? And what are they reading? This is just our AVID Wicker poster. It's kind of hard to see here, but what this really goes through within that instructional domain, there's writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading that we focus on. And within those, we can go through using this document and we can show what writing is, what our students can do, and then what AVID can support through specific strategies. So this is kind of like a quick, easy one-pager that we can hyperlink and give to teachers, parents, students, so that we can have that common language as we are looking at those Tier 1 supports. So where are we going from here? We started in 2012. We were rocking and rolling, doing a good job. Pandemic hit, we got to back it up. AVID backed things up a little bit, and now we're going to continue moving forward. So this fall, 23-24, we took 28 Fridley educators to AVID National Conference to learn more about AVID school-wide. And it was busy and intense, and we were all very tired, but very excited after we came home. This winter coming up, we are going to have a district-wide strategic planning that is going to be led by 2 AVID facilitators, and they are coming in to specifically work with our building and district leaders to look at how can they look at Avid from a district-wide perspective. And as you can see on there, it talks about informed strategic planning and resource allocation to establish beliefs and infrastructure needed to ensure college and career readiness for all. So we're really asking our leaders to refocus how we're looking at Avid, and then what can we do systemically. Then this summer, we will once again attend Summer Institute, which is more geared towards teachers and what they're doing in that instruction, but gives us some time. So it's a 3-day interactive experience. It's usually at the Minneapolis Convention Center. That's where it will be again, featuring a rigorous curriculum that promotes student achievement at the highest levels and lays out pathways for student success. Our teachers come back from that every year filled with ideas of things they can implement. And then after, we're not quite sure what that's going to look like, but next fall we will begin working with that implementation of our strategic planning that we work out through that and then through the summer. So here's our Avid in action. School-wide planning. How do we further our understanding of both what Avid is and how it could and should look at each particular site in Fridley Public Schools? We have to look at what are we doing for Avid school-wide. And then how can we build capacity and support at every level to ensure a strong implementation as well as sustain this program with fidelity? So those are kind of the questions that we're really trying to answer through our strategic planning and as we move forward. These are all Fridley students you're going to see here. So we have our amazing Avid site teams. We have a very strong middle school site team. We have a pretty strong high school site team, but we kind of need to refocus where we are at, what we're doing. Our site teams really help to inform practice and should be helping to inform our professional learning as well. They are our teachers in the classroom working with the students. They can tell you what's working and what is not working. You'll see on the left there that Wicker poster was a poster that was made by teachers. You can even see the IB language that's already in there with Criterion C written down on there. I see different IB phrases with what people were working at differentiating rubrics. And then the picture on the right was from Avid National Conference, and that's at their general session where they just put things up. I'm never on a big screen. It was kind of weird. So that was really fun, but it really does speak to what we can learn and the excitement that you see there that helps support our site teams year-round. Professional development, we talked a little bit about this already, but this was from our NatCon experience. Both of these pictures were a collection of our educators after we had been through full days of meetings and workshops and conversations and working lunches, as we really looked at what can we do to further our impact with our students. Professional development with Avid is not a one and done. It is continuous, and they allow it to be implemented with our people as well. So we don't have to always hire in people, but it's great to bring people in to hear a different voice as well. So Avid in action with our collaboration and inquiry, and you see some of our fabulous Fridley Middle School students here engaging in tutorials. Tutorials are just one of the many ways that we ask our students to delve deeper into the questions they have in class by asking questions, scaffolding, taking notes, and looking at really what they're doing, as well as learning to listen to their peers, to truly listen, and then to help them to get to the answer without just telling them the answer. So that's something that we really want to facilitate school-wide as well. Our focus notes, like I talked about before, DP Biology is a tough course for a lot of our kids in this first year, and our kids take notebooks and notebooks of focus notes in DP Bio. You see an example of a one-pager of focus notes on the left there that a student took. I always love, by the time our kids get to juniors, they take notes in a variety of fashions. This child here for DP Bio is on her 3rd notebook of the year, and we are in semester 1. I keep telling her we should buy her a bigger notebook, but she likes the smaller ones. So, but what I really like about it is you can really see how she is going through and processing those notes. She's not just writing it to write it. She's highlighting what she needs. She's learning, and through that, she is synthesizing that information. Organization, it's huge for our students with their binders. As our students progress from 6th grade to 12th grade, their organizational style is going to change, but these students were super thrilled that I asked them to take pictures of their clean binders, but they were so excited when I said, who's got a really great binder? And they all shot their hands up in the air to get pictures taken. And we had one in the middle that wanted to photobomb every picture. So those binders really do help those kids to stay organized, to make sure that they have everything in one place. Every kid's binder has a different organizational style to it. By the time they get to be juniors and seniors with their 2-year DP courses, they're carrying 2 smaller binders, 3 smaller binders, and a folder for just like activities, papers, and things like that. But what I like about it is it really truly teaches them how to be organized for life. It sets them up as they go forward. Another thing that we love to do in Avid is celebrate our students. You see here that our Fridley Middle School has given, this is one of my freshmen this year, they gave him an outstanding award, voted Life of the Party, which if you know this child, he is, and he is one of the hardest workers ever. And we really try to celebrate the unique differences. Another thing that we do in Avid is we do a lot of attention getters with different claps, different things, our Avid whooshes, where whenever the kids are happy, they whoosh, they make them up, they do their fireworks. One of our Avid teachers who's not here likes to do a cheeseburger for well done. We really like to celebrate even the little things that might seem minute to really help our students move forward. All right, so what does Avid do ultimately when we talk about Choice Ready? Up here I have a few examples of students all the way back from our first graduating class in 2016. Again, Keeler, you're probably like, okay, I see these kids. Sierra Armstrong up there was a kid who never thought she could go to college, legitimately came in 9th grade, told me she loved math, but college wasn't going to be for her. Ended up graduating, got into a fast-tracked program for accounting, ended up getting her MBA within 7 years and is now working. We have students that were full DP up here, partial DP, all college graduates, pre-law. Nursing, the one in the middle on the bottom, Maria, she's a professional nurse and a professional model. Tessie Pal in the corner went to play basketball in Austria, graduated in 4 years, is now going back for his MBA. Will Harvey up there has been traveling the world as a trade support analyst. Our kids do great things when they leave Fridley Public Schools, and we want to expand this to everyone. College is not the only thing that we are preparing our students for, though. We have a significant number of our students who have gone into the military, and gone into the military where they felt like they had a professional track in education in the military. I also put an interesting one up there. Darius Martin in the corner there. I always get this wrong. It's not WWE, but AEW, thank you, wrestling. Now, why would I put that up there? Great question, right? He actually went to acting school and to a professional wrestling school, did not know it was a thing. And when he first told me this in 9th grade, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was like, is that really a thing? And then I backed it up, and it really was a thing. But what that did for him, though, is it gave him the opportunity to do what he wanted and fulfill his dreams, ideally. He's on TV. It's very weird. That's a TNT picture. Very weird for me to turn it on and recognize a small child in my classroom. I also really want to point out that we have a lot of students that go into the trades as well, and Avid really supports that. That is really important to me. We've had quite a few kids go into HVAC, plumbing, sheet metal. There's one student in particular, which is why I put that up there. He designs green sheet metal and then works on the engineering of the installs of it. And I just think it's so cool because it's things that we don't often see, but we just want to really make sure that all of our kids are choice ready. So what's next? We are working on a plan for getting tutors in our Avid elective classrooms. We have some really exciting things that we are hopefully doing there. Bringing back our Avid signing nights for our students in different grade levels, and our Avid graduation ceremony that we have not done since pre-COVID. Intentional professional learning with Avid and IB. I cannot speak enough to the point that Avid and IB work together. Avid is that ladder that we help students to climb to reach those higher levels of learning. And then just continued support through that Avid school-wide system for every single one of our students. So, I brought with me tonight some teachers who went to AVID National Conference, who can share a little bit about what they learned and what they're bringing back. Whoever wants to go, you're up. You start first. Go for it. Happy to share.
Hi, good evening. Congratulations, newly installed board members. And congratulations on your new positions, too. My name is Katie Snyder. I'm the DP-CP District Assessment Coordinator at Fridley Public Schools, mainly housed in the high school, and was the math teacher at the high school for the previous 8 years. And heading to National Convention, I was so jazzed for all of my teacher colleagues that got to go along, and that excitement that Liz spoke about, and you can see in the pictures from convention, and I think Sarah could speak about it too. It's like that warm, fuzzy, invigorating feeling to get excited about teaching and learning. But thinking as my role as a coordinator, thinking about what that means for our programs, specifically IB and the DPCP. IB is that insistence on rigor. They are rigorous courses. We saw all those focus notes from DP biology, and that is just one. And we ask that from all of our students, especially as an IB continuum district. Every single one of our students is an IB student. And AVID, as Liz mentioned, is that ladder to help our students get there. You feel like you can't have one without the other. This is a perfect marriage between both of our programs that we value here at Fridley Public Schools. IB is that rigor, AVID is that support, and together they work in perfect harmony. So a couple nuggets that I took with me, thinking that curriculum lens, AVID kept speaking about this guaranteed and viable curriculum. That's what I want to carry forward with our teachers and with our students. We want to continue a curriculum that is going to help them to be ready to be choice ready in whatever they choose. So that's just one little piece that I could take with me and continue to look forward to as we continue our AVID school-wide journey. Thanks.
Thanks, Katie.
Hi, my name is Lizzie Winkleman. I teach Spanish and AVID. Trying to think, I think I started teaching AVID in 2017. It's a good guess. And was fortunate enough to attend national conferences here. It was kind of a really good, just mindset rebuilding and getting back to the heart of what is AVID. And it was also really nice to be able to attend sessions where it's looking at what does AVID look like outside of the elective and how can we really reinforce and reinvigorate that idea of AVID school-wide. And so one of the sessions that I attended was the Athlete Scholar session that I found very interesting. I also coach track here. I was a high school athlete myself and also was fortunate enough to continue that at the college level. And so looking at kind of how can we take that family feeling of AVID and build that school-wide and incorporate that into our activities and our athletics and our arts and continue that feeling of support and helping kids like Darius, for example, who I coached in track, and one time freshman or sophomore year told me he wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I thought he was kidding. And I was like, haha, yeah, okay. And he's like, no, I'm serious, Miss Winkleman. I want to be a professional wrestler. And I was like, I've never in my life met a kid who has said that to me. So, right. So how can we help them then achieve these goals if they're like, I want to do something outside of becoming, right? Because a lot of kids come in and they're like, well, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a doctor. So what do I do? So it was really interesting to go to that session and see how we can incorporate AVID into those different areas. Thinking about kind of the culture and the mindset that surrounds those things. And it does take a very tough mindset to do extracurriculars, activities, athletics, things like that. And then how can we bridge then continuing that mindset and building that growth area for those students through, specifically this was involving athletics, but there were a few other sessions I attended that discussed how they incorporated into their art program and things like that. But kind of helping kids, and we talked about this, Liz talked about it a little bit, but helping balance then like their academics and their athletics and their activities and just their personal life, and how can we use those organizational skills to kind of balance everything out to create a successful path for them. Another thing with this too is a lot of our students that are in athletics oftentimes have that like D1 mindset, right? It's like D1 or bust is kind of that mindset. And so building in to that ideology then to what are the other areas of athletics that we can look at. So one thing that was really cool about this class is they take the kids on field trips, right? So instead of just going to see a football game, for example, they go and they tour the stadium and they get to meet the people that work behind the scenes, the other people that are involved in athletics. So outside of being an athlete, because we talk about this a lot in our classes when they're doing these college and career presentations, I always tell them, like, you can't pick an athlete as a career because you have to have a backup plan. You can't just go in with that mindset of, I'm going to go D1, I'm going to get a full ride, I'm going to go to the NFL. That is very unrealistic for the vast majority of kids. You are talking about you are less than 0.5%, right? So how can we then incorporate these passions that these kids have into their potential careers? So they go on these field trips, they get to meet people that are in different areas, the people that work in the communications and the audiovisual areas of these careers, the people who run the concessions, for example, like who does the food choices for the stadiums. So it was how they incorporate a lot of those things and building connections then between academics and their passion projects and continuing that mindset between the two. Because a lot of times we go to these sporting events, we're like, oh, I wish I could see this kid do this exact same amount of effort in a classroom, right? So how can we bridge that gap to have that be a school-wide so these kids are not only like leaders in their out on the field or on the track or in the pool or whatever it may be, but they also can be leaders in the classroom and have these people look up to them in more than just one area. So having them be a true AVID leader and what that looks like through the AVID Scholar class is really cool. It does also then talk about NCAA eligibility and what that looks like and things like that. But at the heart of the program, it really is just mindset and finding ways to build connections between what you're passionate about and your potential futures. So that is now my passion project.
Thank you.
Ashley Girl came in at the middle school. Wow. AVID math. My AVID journey started back in 2009. I was a wee baby teacher and came back from teaching abroad in the middle of the year. So best place to start was as an AVID tutor. I didn't want to fully teach and take my own classroom mid-year, so I was a tutor. I did that for quite some time, and then finding a place where I'm able to now bring myself as middle school AVID tutor and now be like middle school AVID elective teacher, is coordinating our middle school program, and being able to see that 180 completely be here and be ingratiated in what we do is something that I hope all of you take that time to make sure you are seeing the work of what we are all doing and what we have all supported. It's been amazing, and it's something that we definitely can extend our thanks for that support, because it's allowed a pathway for a lot of our students, as well as some renewed invigoration from our staff. Attending NatCon alone provided a large passion increase in a very large amount of teachers and adults that went. So allowing that piece to say, okay, we did this, it definitely affected everyone in especially the 6-8 world or 6-12 world, with all of the subbing, all the pieces, all the work that went up to it, the financial obligation that went up to it. That's extremely important, because now it's allowing for a really amazing step forward that we wouldn't have had without this. So that support and all of that piece really plays a massive role into what we've been doing. And I massively appreciate the work to make sure that 6th grade stays, because there's not a lot of districts in the middle or in the Minnesota area that have 6th grade. So yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me a second, all right. Hi, I'm Kim Haley. I teach currently this year 6th grade AVID. Just echoing what my colleagues have said, NatCon really was a great refresh button for me personally. It was really great to be around other people that have the same passion for AVID that I've really developed over the last 6 years that I've taught it. So just kind of bringing it back to my classrooms, not only my AVID classroom, but also my Lang and Lit classrooms, has been really great. The enthusiasm is there in our district. Every day, I literally have a 6th grader coming up to me asking, how do I get into AVID? Weekly, I get about 5 emails asking the same thing. So our kids are really passionate about how can they also benefit from this amazing program. So it's great that we have students already wanting to be a part of it, and how do they benefit? So going district-wide, going school-wide, and really giving them those opportunities as well, I'm really excited about. I know recently with my new, freshly, like, all right, let's go. I brought some strategies back into my Lang and Lit classroom and did kind of like tutorials for them. And those 8th graders that maybe aren't a part of AVID elective thrived. It was so great to see them in leadership roles. And again, just starting fresh, starting over, reminding myself of what our purpose with AVID is and my own personal purpose with it and what I want to see growth with it all has been really great. And having that opportunity to go to NatCon and be with other passionate people has been amazing. So thank you all.
Hi everyone, Sarah Bennick, 8th grade science, 7th grade AVID. I just joined the AVID team as an elective teacher this year. I was really excited to get the experience of Summer Institute before I started teaching the class and getting to go to NatCon this fall. It was really exciting to see that energy come back, like everybody else has mentioned. I've always had students come back, and students have always been coming back from high school and from current college students saying, I'm so happy I was a part of AVID because this is what it has taught me, organization, public speaking, whatever it is. So I'm really excited to be a part of that in the AVID elective. And after NatCon, also really excited to be a part of the conversation at the middle school to make that opportunity available to everybody and those pieces and those skills accessible for all of our students. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah.
Hello, my name's Elise Mulville. I teach 8th grade AVID elective and then 7th grade science. Echoing what all of my colleagues have said, it's an invigorating experience. The one thing that I really, really appreciate is that we sent equity specialists, we sent IB coordinators, we sent principals. This is the first time where we've had everybody having to sit at the table, having this conversation of how do we go AVID school-wide and how is it going to support the rigor that our district really has with our IB framework. So that was my huge takeaway of we came back within days asking when are we gonna have a meeting, when are we gonna sit down without food. We were not bribed. We were saying we'll come in the morning, we'll say after school because we believe in this work, and it just really brought everybody together on the same page. So it was an amazing experience. I'm excited to see what happens in the school with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Board Member Jones.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. So, board, well, I've had the pleasure to investigate what we're doing in AVID by getting to go to multiple AVID classes with most of our AVID elective teachers here. And I also got to spend time with them at the national conference. So I would like to tell you a little bit about, well, Ms. Jensen did such a fantastic job telling us why it is that we need AVID for all of our students. And I, as a teacher, 100% agree, and as a parent, 100% agree that all of our students in our community need the supports for this rigor. I know that as we value our students and as we value the education, to send them out choice ready, ready for college, ready for career, what their future has for them, that these will be skills that will help each of them. Things that I learned at National Conference are that this has all of the best research-based strategies in it, and they're given to our teachers so that they don't each have to learn all of the new things, and so that it provides consistency throughout a child's day, throughout a student's day, right? So they're not like learning one thing in, English and then trying a different strategy in another place, but that these are consistent things that can be done within their day. And I do think that that is really, really helpful for them. And I think that for our teachers also, it's really helpful to know, like, as a Phy-Ed teacher, as a music teacher, how do I teach writing in my classroom? Like, what does that look like? Because we aren't necessarily in teacher preparation school. Those aren't necessarily things that are your major emphasis. So I do appreciate having all of those skills of those kind of wicker strategies, the writing, the inquiry, the collaboration. And going to National Conference, as all of the staff has said, was just really motivating and really inspirational, hearing from leaders nationally about what the impact has been, hearing from multiple individuals who have been through AVID programs, what the impact has been on them, but then also getting to see some data around this and just really how scores, how success is grown and measured in these programs. I saw a lot of that, and also I thought that it was really fantastic to learn from some local or smaller schools that are very similar to us, what successes they've had with implementing this program. So I would agree with all of those things that we have heard, and I do think that it's really important that this is something that we can support our staff on all throughout the district. But I also really am very thankful for the staff that went. I know that it's hard to go away from your classroom and then come back to your classroom, hard to leave your family for that time. So I really appreciate their willingness to come, and thank you all so very much. I really loved getting to see the Avid team, which they don't call it a team, they call it the Avid family, which Avid Apparel says Avid family, like it is their family. And in the support, like the relationships are foundational in Avid, and I loved walking into our classrooms as I got to visit these Avid elective classes and see the connection that our students have with our teachers. I love that in some of our classes, the teachers loop with the students. So if this is your Avid teacher in 9th grade, it is your Avid teacher in 10th grade and 11th grade and 12th grade, and they are not going to let you get away. Like, I appreciate that so very much. So staff, I really am so thankful for your dedication, your willingness to come to the National Convention, your willingness to invest in our students and insist on rigor and the very best that each of our students deserves. So I really appreciate that from each of you. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Ms. Jensen, do you want to close it out, or do you want me to?
And Sarah did a great job. You are welcome to close it out as well. But we wanted to say thank you for supporting us as we are moving forward to re-implement. This will be good for our students, and ultimately, that's 100% the most important thing to us and to our teachers, is what works best for Fridley students. And I believe very strongly that it is Avid and IB. So thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
I just want to thank our team as well that went, and just for your eagerness around the work and your love of Avid. It was said a few different ways tonight, and board, during my interview process, we're either doing Avid all in the right way or we're not doing it at all. And things like national conference, things like Summer Institute, things like tutorials. Anytime you take pieces of that and remove it, it nicks away at the fidelity. And one of the pieces that was elevated was the power of NatCon. Is it an investment for us to take people to the national conference? It absolutely is. What I would say is, let's look at the investment of what brings here. Later this month, we have professional learning for our teachers. This team is providing professional learning around Avid. And again, Avid works. It works for the students here in Fridley. You can see the data, but it only works if we invest and follow it the way that it was designed to do. You heard mentioned the tutorials. I'm going to ask Ms. G and Ms. Jensen to correct anything that I say here incorrectly. We've had a hard time with filling our Avid tutorial component, filling our Avid tutor portion positions. We've done okay at the middle school, correct? We've not had the staffing that we need to, not from a funding standpoint, from available staff to do the Avid tutorials at the high schools. So what we are trying, which we're really excited about, is how we're using building subs and bringing those that helps with our fill rates, members of our community, etc. Since we also have our international program, we are doing assignments where we hire building subs who also serve as our Avid tutors. So they're invested. We do that. We're going to really work to fill it that way. Ms. Johnson shared with me a few weeks ago, again, having those tutorials, but the problem is right now in her classes and many of our high school classes, we don't have the staffing to do the tutorials on a consistent basis, so it's like starting over every time. And again, nicking away at that fidelity. I was so excited, although I don't think my 6th grader was excited. I got a text tonight saying tutorial, she would die if she knew I just said that. My 6th grader was so excited that I checked with her when I got that on the tutorial sheet being due and ready to go, it made me so excited as a superintendent, as a mom, to say we're doing this with Fidelity. So I'm going to keep pushing us to always remember, do not nick away at the fidelity of Avid. And you saw that here tonight, and you saw the power of that. So again, I appreciate that as a board, you're investing in that, understanding it. And Avid is more than Avid elective. And sometimes we have school systems that solely do the Avid elective. Does that help? Yep. Does it get you all of the elements? It certainly doesn't. So I just appreciate the investment that our staff has made, and it's a game changer when done with Fidelity. So with that, thank you so much to our Avid team. And now we're going to move into our high school team. I just got a message from my 6th grader. I heard that. I'm watching you right now. So there we go.
Lewis, if it makes you feel any better, my 6th grader and I have the same conversation. So,
Good.
But I can guarantee you he's not watching.
That's amazing.
That is so funny about the text message. You can clearly see it works. Okay. Kelly, give me just a second here as I'm standing up your slides. I did them correctly here, so you let me know when you're ready for me to click. And I'm just so excited to introduce our high school principal, no longer interim, Kelly McConville.
All right, thank you for
so
having me.
excited to have him. And we want to highlight our schools. And so tonight we're starting with Fridley High School as one of our schools to highlight. And then you'll, of course, hear reports from each of our schools as we move on throughout this year. Go ahead, Kelly.
All right, so you can go to the next slide. Just talking about the how we're going to start this school year, really looking at the model of rigor and support, but then also culture and climate. So one of the things coming in, we wanted to look at things at a systemic level and really look at data to inform what we are doing. So the first order of business this year starting out was we shifted our grading scale. We determined that passing was a little too easy, and it didn't have the rigor. So students sometimes fall to that lowest level to be successful. So we made that shift. And then everything that we've done this year is really looking at how do we support our teachers and our students. Because if the teachers are supported, and when I say support, it means looking at efficiencies. How is their day going? What are they doing? How do they track data? How do they communicate with families? And then looking at if we can create more efficiencies within the system, they can work more with the students. So again, students benefit from that. And then as a school, given our current structure, how do we build in support during the school day? And so just a couple examples and kind of, I'm gonna touch on some highlights because I wanna really get to the star of the show coming up. But really looking at what we created this year is a lunch and learn. At mid-semester, we looked at our students weren't being as successful as we'd hoped. So we had a fun lunch schedule. So for homecoming week, it's an hour-long lunch. Well, we have that schedule, we have the bell schedule. Why don't we use that for getting support for students? So teachers have true office hours, students can come, they can reassess, they can get help. So we started doing lunch and learns once a week. And again, building in systemic supports within the school day where students have access to teachers. They can see 2 teachers per lunch. And then again, just looking at how do we do things better at a systemic level.
Before I advance the slide, Avid staff, you can stay or you can go. It's completely up to you. I didn't want you to feel like you had to stay. We're excited about YIG. Okay, YIG. Yes, great. Okay.
All right, so again, I'm just going to talk about highlights. So one of the things this first week in October, our homecoming week, it's just an awesome week for Fridley Pride. And one of the cool things, and just for me, I was able to give the pep talk to the football team. I wasn't a football player. I've never done that. I was a wrestling coach, but to do that was really cool and have that honor. And then just again, we do dress-up days. We have a pep fest on that Friday. And again, just to highlight some of that student spirit that we have for our Fridley Pride. All right, I would say one of the highlights that we have is, I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to meet Matt Kiefer. So he is part of Get Ready, and it's the 7-year cohort. It's unfortunately the last year of that cohort. One of the things that we as a school is above the state average on FAFSA completion rate, which is the number one indicator of college entrance. And so last year was 72%. This year we're shooting for 90% FAFSA completion rate. We had a college fair. We had 45 colleges come to our school, and it went beautifully. So many students were there. There's asking questions. The reps were there. It was a wonderful opportunity for our students. Another thing is to really look at systemic data and to say what shifts can we make. And and our team we're okay with making change, even though you're supposed to kind of wait a little bit. So one of the things, just as an example, we saw some needs within our special education department, and so we did some room shifts. To do that in the middle of during MEA was quite challenging, and it really took a whole team, custodial staff, buildings and grounds, to move our sensory room right next to the students who needed it the most, because where it was located before, next to communications up by the gym, was not accessible when needed. So we made that change again. How do we support our students and our teachers? Again, just something to highlight, this fall and winter, our fine arts. As you can see, this was our holiday concert, and then if you had a chance to see the musical, it was fantastic. One of the things that we're quite proud of, we are the only city in Anoka County with SROs, and I can tell you, as coming in 2010, Chief George was my SRO. So that relationship, again, that partnership and relationship with the city is incredibly powerful for us, and we've had such better outcomes as a result of that support for our schools with our SROs. And so this is from this year, but it's something from my last 2 years I've always highlighted. This is our SROs working with that community partnership with our preschool. I don't think I need to add on to the AVID National Conference. However, I will say, as somebody who's been to a lot of conferences, this was probably by far the best, most informative conference I've ever been to. So I'm just excited to continue the work as principal. And then our student council. One of the things that, as you're going to see, our student leadership is tremendous at Fridley High School. And our student council, this year we hosted 9 other schools. One of the things that they've been instrumental is that student voice. So, for example, during our one lunch, they came in and they said, you know, I think the media center should be a quiet place to study. And we're like, great idea. And we implemented it. So again, just getting that student voice. Whenever there's something, I'm like, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? It's the student council that I go to get that perspective and to really inform our decisions. One of the things we're really proud of, so this is new this year, our CNA program. So as you can see right here, this is Eric Anderson. He's one of our longtime FIAD teachers. And we had Pine Tech, and actually the president came from Pine Tech and came and we handed out the certificates, and it was just such a celebration for our students to finish that. So first semester, I think it's been a success, and we look forward to kind of continuing that on as we move forward. All right, kind of as we finish up. So one of the things that was really great this year, we had 16 students with our silver platter breakfast, and these are DP candidates. And so this is that first step in that rigorous earning your diploma. And one of the cool things, we always have an alumni speaker. So we had Maggie Bergman from class of 2016 come in and speak, and she talked about her journey, and she's, I think, in Manhattan pursuing musical theater. And she talked about all the things that she learned as a DP candidate at Fridley High School. All right, and so now I would like to have Yig come and really thank our students who came tonight. All right, come on up.
Guess we can gather around here. So firstly, thank you all for having us. Feels a little bit weird for me to be here speaking on behalf of the high school, given that I'm a middle school teacher. But maybe we can all introduce ourselves. My name's Aaron Cuthbert. I am 8th grade social studies teacher at the Fridley Middle School. I've been involved with YIG, Youth in Government, in the capacity as a delegation advisor for 12 years now. So it's been a while.
All right, and I'm Jessica Schutte. I'm one of the, whatever. I thought you left it the right way.
I'm sorry.
One of the high school social studies teachers, and been a gig advisor for as long as I've been here, 12 or 13 years. So. All right.
Hi, my name is Yahira. I am a junior at the high school, and I am the chair of our club.
My name's Sophia. I'm a freshman at the high school. And yeah.
I think none of this would be possible without all of the support that we've received over the years, both from the school board, which has been tremendously generous, the Fridley Lions, who we're actually so financially stable right now that we haven't had to ask them for financial support in the last year. Although they have donated generously, the YMCA has made this program very available to our students. It is an expensive program, but they have gone above and beyond to work with Fridley. We have a very long working relationship with them. We were actually just talking how long. It's got to be at least 25 years Fridley has been working. I think if we were to add up the years of experience of all of our adult advisors, it's well over 100. Northwest Suburban and especially the Anne Bancroft Foundation, that's provided, God, I don't even know, tens of thousands of dollars to Fridley students over the last 10 years or so that we've been asking for their support. So thank you to everybody that has sort of made that possible.
All right. So first of all, what is youth in government? It is one of several programs that are part of our part of the YMCA Center for Youth Voice. And we just went through the Youth in Government program, which Fridley has been participating in, I think, at least 30 years, is my understanding. But YIG is a hands-on civic learning program where students in grades 8 through 12 become legislators, lawyers, judges, lobbyists. They're members of the media, cabinet members, and we spend 4 days running a state model government in both Minneapolis for our younger students and then in the Capitol for mostly our juniors and seniors. This year we had 83 Fridley students participate, and we're one of the largest delegations there, along with some really, really big schools around the state. So Fridley definitely represented this year.
Part of what has made this possible is our ability to host program called Launch. It's a kickoff. Prior to the pandemic, we had a history of running this program at the high school. Think about it as like the kickoff for Fridley or for statewide YIG. We have kids from all over the state and western Wisconsin come over to the high school. The YMCA rents that space out, which then we are able to use to help scholarship our students to attend. So it's really a kind of a critical piece of making this puzzle work here. I think we had like 8 or 900 students from across the state attend. It wasn't on the previous slide, but I believe the numbers are for the entire program are back up to around 1,500. The largest before the pandemic being around 1,800. So we're coming back up. With our 83 is our largest delegation 2006. So it's been a while. So we've recovered pretty well. And a big thank you to the Fridley Key Club, who we were able to interact with to help provide concessions during that time. So one thing that I really appreciate about YIG is about how we're able to leverage student leadership and connections to make these kind of events happen both in our school and throughout the state. So with that, what we would like to do is turn it over to our students here who have been waiting so patiently to talk a little bit about what the program is like.
So YIG is like, it's basically a student-run like program. Like, all the kids like, they use their voice and they help make the program run smoothly. You can join if you're in 12th, 11th, whichever grade you like, but there's like an opportunity for 8th graders called Leadership Corps where you get to explore all different programs of YIG. I participated in it last year and I got to learn about courts, legislative, all different branches of the government, and it helped me settle and figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to be involved in YIG.
All right, and then there are multiple other branches, obviously within the government, that we do at Youth and Government. One being the legislative. Sophia here is a big legislative member, I'll say that. And what they do is before the conference, they prepare by writing a bill, researching a problem in Minnesota that they want to fix, seeing how they're going to have to go with funding, punishments, and all sorts of things. Later then on, they have to go through all the steps that your regular representative or senator would have to go through to get this bill passed. Eventually, it could either die in the committee or the Senate or the House, or it can go all the way to the governor's desk, because there is a youth governor, and eventually might get signed by the youth governor. And then there is courts where you are assigned a case, and you kind of just, it's a similar setup as this, where you go and obviously defend your client and talk about why either your client is guilty or innocent, or why a company should do this, or why something is legal or why something isn't. I'm not a big courts person, so I can't really speak much on that. But yeah, on the slide we see Kale. He's actually one of the chief judges for our youth and government courts, and he was unfortunately not able to be here today, so I'll speak a little bit on behalf of him. And then we have the Nationals Issues Form. So this is actually not available to 8th graders or 9th graders, just because the topics are a little bit more harsh, as they are national level issues. But it's really fun. Our youth and government program at Fridley, our delegates from Fridley have had a really strong voice within the National Issues Forum branch. I think the National Issues Forum branch is dominated primarily by Fridley students. It's pretty impressive. And then there is a lobbying program as well, where we have real life lobbyists, but they're really not, they're kids, advocating for bills that they believe are beneficial for certain companies or for schools and all sorts of things. And then we have a media team that actually has like an Instagram account. They used to do a live kind of like news thing at night, but nobody would watch it, so they took it off. Yeah. And they started doing podcasts instead, which is like something that our generation listens to a lot more than actually watching the news at night. It's an incredible program. It's done a lot. It's a really easy way to learn more about the government and how it works. And it's fun. You're not sitting in a classroom and learning about it. You're actually walking around and doing what these senators or these representatives or these lawyers or these judges would be doing. Yeah. Oh, okay. I can talk a little bit about this as well. So within the conference, there are also leadership positions. Like I mentioned previously, there's a youth governor, there's a youth lieutenant governor, there's a youth secretary of state, presidents of the Senates, speakers of houses, chief judges, all sorts of things, director of the lobbyists, directors of the media, anything you can really think of, youth and government has it. So last year, as I mentioned previously, Cale Holst was elected as Chief Justice of the Appeals Courts, and he served at the conference that we just came back from. And this year, I actually ran to be the Youth Secretary of State, which I ended up winning. It was quite an experience. And Sophia here also ran to be the president of Spear Senate. So when you run to be in a leadership position, it depends on what part you're in. So if you're running specifically for a program area, such as president of Spear Senate or of Chief Justice, you primarily campaign within your program area. But when you're running to be the Secretary of State or the youth governor or the youth lieutenant governor, you have to campaign within the entire conference. As Mr. Cuthbert mentioned previously, there is over 1,500 students that attend. So as you can imagine, there was a lot of me talking to people that I have no idea who they were. And something cool that I think it's cool that we do when running for a statewide position is we make these little business cards, and we like put pins on the back of them that people can put on their lanyards, and it just looks really cute. Let me think. I made 1,100. Wow. Yeah, and I ran out.
Wow. Sophia, what was it like to run for the president of the Senate? What do you have to
So to prepare to like run for an elected position, you had to fill out a form and like send in headshots and a whole bunch of stuff to be put in like a voter's guide where people could review more on what you were planning to do in that position. And then leading up to the elections, they're in your program areas. You got to speak to your program area. Like there was a few other candidates I was running against, and we wrote speeches and we presented to the entire Senate, and then we were asked questions just so people could see like who you were and what you wanted to do, so they could like vote for you or not.
What is the Spear Senate?
So basically in like Congress there's the House and the Senate, and then they're just split up into smaller groups. I'm not sure if those are like actual things, like if the Spear Senate.
We have we have enough kids that we run multiple concurrently operating houses and senates. There is an underclassmen house and senate. The names are after prominent Minnesota prominent Minnesota lawmakers, philanthropists, etc. So there's upperclassmen and underclassmen versions. The Spear Senate is the underclassmen Senate.
So we spoke a little bit about YIG, which is like a kid version government, but there's also other opportunities. A very like, I don't want to say, it's not as popular as YIG, but it's a big conference, is MUN. Model United Nations. It's basically like mock United Nations. Each delegate is assigned like a country or a nation, and they research topics, and they get to, they research topics, and they see how this would affect their country, or like differences that these topics have made or what they would make. And you get to speak on behalf of a country, and it's basically you're like a diplomat for like a country.
Can we go back to the previous slide?
I just wanted to give you the cheat sheet there. There you go. Yeah, you're doing great.
Another really big conference that is a pretty big deal, not necessarily within Fridley Youth and Government, but statewide, is the Conference on National Affairs, which I had the honor to attend last year. Basically what this is basically the same thing as National Issues Forum, but nationwide. When I mean nationwide, I mean we go to a different state and talk about these issues. You have to go through an entire process, an application, writing resumes, writing a proposal, and all that interesting stuff. And former YIG students go through these applications, and they choose 24 students that apply. And these 24 students get to go to North Carolina, to Blue Ridge, North Carolina, and they get to present their proposals, debate these issues with other 24 students from all these other states that have youth in government. It is really interesting just because here in Minnesota, our youth in government tends to be more, I want to say, liberal. But when you go to the Conference of National Affairs, you get to see all points of views around the entire country. Sometimes I personally wanted to just go at some of the students, but you can't do that. You just have to sit there and be like, it's quite an experience. You're obviously in a different state for a couple of days. You miss home. The food's not so good. That's something I should talk to you about with the YMCA, but it's a really fun experience. And I mean, if you go, it's like, if you get in, it's like a really big deal. It looks really good when you run for higher office positions. Yep.
And if we can go back to Model UN real quick. So Model UN, we will be signing up kids this month already to attend, and that will take place between Thursday, April 4th and Saturday, April 6th. Doesn't run into spring break this year, so that's pretty exciting for all of us. But the kids do get to choose their top 10 countries. They're assigned those countries. They can work in groups. Like the United States needs a much larger group than, say, I don't know, it's a good example of one of, thank you, Dominican Republic would have probably one.
Julian was Cameroon last year.
Yep. One-man camera.
So, I mean, ultimately we're here to just kind of share this with you because we feel like it's such a powerful opportunity for our young people. The adults that are involved in this often joke that we like it because we actually just get to go sit down and let them do the work. And I think that really speaks to the power of youth advocacy in this way. You all know that promoting citizenship amongst our young people has got to be one of our #1 priorities as we're thinking about youth development and how we move our community, our school, and our young people forward here. And there's no better way. Fridley has had a long history of being one of the most active delegations in this conference, advocating for equity and accessibility. I'm happy to go into anecdotes with you about that at a different time. Now is maybe not it, but we have a very strong voice in that matter, and it's in no small part due to the young people that we have here sharing their perspective, their life experience, and their opinions on the matter. Obviously, it builds self-confidence and helps public speaking skills. I do not know how many times I have had kids as 8th graders who they're just so anxious about speaking. I was reading Ms. Schutte an email that I got from a student who had run for in office in our school steering committee, explaining how thankful she was for the opportunity to get to practice her speaking skills and how much more confident she feels in expressing herself in front of a group. I don't think we can overstate that. And then obviously, I think that the way that the segments within the IB program and continuum really can't be overstated here. Obviously, international mindedness is a big piece of this. However, if we want to talk about taking risks, being open-minded and knowledgeable about world issues, a lot of people, when I tell them that I'm a teacher, they're, what about these young people? And I always have the refreshing ability to say, you're fine. We're fine. Like, our young people are rock stars. Like, we do not have a worry about this. Their willingness to take chances, express their opinions, and really demonstrate this kind of civic mindedness is impressive. So your continued support for this program is really pivotal in making this flourish, I would say. So I guess with that, I'd say we yield our time.
Thank you.
I don't think it would surprise anybody in this room to know that I get really excited about this. Like, I was like crawling out of my seat through that entire presentation. The work that you are doing and the way that you understand the way that this political process works is better than most of the adults that I have experienced. So my full-time job, I am the state director of a nonprofit, which means that I am their principal lobbyist, and then we've got other staff on that work as lobbyists as well, and then I'm in charge to make sure they don't screw up like campaign disclosure stuff, things like that, little important tidbits. And I just think it's so impressive, the understanding of the scope of the way that how government works and how it's all interconnected. So if there's ever a time anybody wants to go to the legislature this session and hang out and maybe testify on a bill, meet with some legislators, just give me a bunch of students and we can go down. We've got a lot of bills that we're working on. We're an environmental nonprofit, and I think it's really important that young people are talking about the environment and what they want their future and their kids' future and their kids' future to look like. So open invitation to come hang out at the legislature, and we can coordinate when we have bills up to testify in front of the House and the Senate. And I think depending on where you live, you probably either have Sandra Feist or Aaron Cagle for House members. We could get into some offices too, but I think that would be really great to turn this into like a real action item and to have a real impact. So very well done. Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll carpool.
Certainly awesome work. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to our Fridley High School team, to our students. Erin, I'm lumping you into high school even though I know you're middle school, so thank you for being here and
Middle
just a
school is the
fabulous.
feeder for the high
There we
school.
go. Appreciate it. Okay, and one final item here on the superintendent's update. We talked about this in the other room. So Fridley Public Schools had the fortune that we received a call from Northrop to say, hey, did you still want our space? Someone else is interested. And that came as a nice surprise to us. So we're so excited that we get to have the class of 2024 graduation on May 30th at 7 p.m. at Northrop. It gives us the space that we need so that we don't have to have families having really small numbers of tickets. It gives us the security to ensure that everyone's safe and the accessibility. So we're really excited to have our venue be at Northrop Auditorium. I know tonight's update was pretty robust and longer than what we usually have, but I just appreciate your willingness to hear and listen and to see all that there is to celebrate and honor here in Fridley Public Schools. So thanks for your time tonight with a longer update than normal.
Awesome. So next on the agenda is our business action items. Looks like we have three items that we need to go over. School board.
It's hard to hear you.
It's hard to hear me?
Yep. It's on.
Oh, I turned it off.
There we go.
Or Eric did. Thanks, Eric. Next item on the agenda, I think we have three items for business action items. First is the school board organization and annual authorizations for 2024. Fridley School Board participates in a variety of committees inside and outside of Fridley Public Schools and approved the authorizations for school board communication, finance, and business. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the school board organization and annual authorizations for 2024.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is just a simple voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Next, we have a resolution of accepting gifts, whereas School Board Policy 706 establishes guidelines for the acceptance of gifts to the district, and whereas Minnesota Statute 465.03 states the school board may accept a gift, grant, or device of real or personal property only by the adoption of a resolution approved by 2/3 of its members. Therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Fridley Public Schools accepts with appreciation the following gifts received by the school district. The following persons donated to Hayes and Stevenson Elementaries. These donors were the Fridley United Women in Faith, and they donated $750 to each school for students in need. And also a donation to the Fridley High School. Gibbs family donated $300 for students in need of school necessities. Chair would entertain a motion to accept these gifts. Anybody?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nikki. Is there a second?
A second.
Thanks, Eric. This is a roll call voit. Ms. Anna?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Carnap is aye. Mr. Keeler?
Aye.
Mr. Meisner?
Aye.
Ms. Stark?
Aye.
Motion passes. Last on this part is the motion to approval of the 2023 and 2024 custodian master agreement, which is great news for our custodians. Do I have a motion to accept the 2023 and 24 custodian master agreement?
Motion.
Second.
And this is not a roll call vote, so all those in favor of accepting the custodian master agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Lastly, we have the consent agenda. Is there an approval for, is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Lastly, I think, are important dates. Wow, there's a lot. I feel like Ross left, bequeathed a lot to me from the last meeting. Okay, so we have the IB Personal Project Night on January 17th at 3:30 p.m. at the Fridley High School Media Center. We have the RLS PTO meeting January 17th at 5:30 p.m. at Stevenson Elementary. We have Earning College Credit at Fridley High School on January 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the District Auditorium. Fridley High School Music Department Disney Family Trivia Night on January 19th at 7 p.m. also in the District Auditorium. Family Bingo Night at Stevenson Elementary January 24th at 5 p.m. obviously at Stevenson. We have no school on January 25th for planning and evaluations. As Superintendent Dr. Lewis had mentioned, our Fridley Schools Foundation Black and Gold Gala will be on January 25th at 5:30 at Jack's Cafe. Please get your tickets if you haven't. We also have no school on January 26th. That's convenient, the day after the gala, makes sense for staff development. Next, we have ALC Celebration of Excellence, February 1st at 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. at the Fridley ALC. We have a free family movie night, The Magician's Elephant, February 2nd, 7 o'clock at the District Auditorium. On February 5th, we'll have a Hayes Better Together parent group meeting at 5 o'clock at Hayes Elementary. February 6th at 7 o'clock, we have the Fridley Middle School 6th grade winter band concert. That will be at the Fridley Middle School. On February 7th, we have 8th grade family engagement night at 6 o'clock in the District Auditorium. On February 12th, we have the Fridley Middle School African American Parent Involvement Day at the Fridley Middle School, and I think that's throughout the day. Also at the Fridley Middle School, we have History Day, which is February 15th at 5:30 p.m. at the Fridley Middle School cafeteria. We have no school, this is a district holiday on February 19th. And then we have Fridley Public School, the next board meeting, February 20th, Fridley Community Center, 5:30 work session, 7 o'clock public forum, 7:30 business meeting. And we also have, hot off the press, Fridley High School Basketball Youth Night. Friday, February 2nd, we will be playing Robbinsdale Cooper. The time is 6 o'clock, and obviously we are at the Fridley High School. Fridley youth players in uniform and parents attend game for free of charge. And it looks like maybe the Fridley boys 4th grade house team might play a scrimmage at the halftime. I was at the teacher appreciation, I believe, for elementary last week at the high school, and it was a fantastic event. Great to see people in the community, and I would highly encourage everyone to pick a few of these activities and get out and go. With that ends our agenda, and the board would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 9:02.